Now check this out. How many employees I have in my database?
You have 10 employees in your database.
That's great. Can you tell me the name of the person with the job of software engineer?
The person with the job title of software engineer is John Doe.
Okay, so now let's verify. So yes, we have 10 employees in our employees table, and the job title of software engineer is for John Doe. That's impressive. And how this all things working? We have too many things tied up together, and let me explain you everything. You know what? Something crazy happened on my previous video. I published the video, and after 24 hours, I visited the analytics. It was shocking to me to see that most of the people who are watching the video are not yet subscribing to this channel. And this is not just impacting my channel, my video, this is also impacting you, because if you are not subscribing, then you will going to miss out the next edition of the video course I am releasing. So for example, the last video was for the OpenAI Agent SDK, and this video is extension of the OpenAI Agent SDK. And after learning that video, you have to learn this thing, because this is real world agent system. So if you have not yet subscribed, just go and hit subscribe, because this will really benefit you on the future videos from this channel. So let's get started. Now, to understand what we are going to learn in this video, check out this flow diagram. So for our real-time database agent, what we are going to use is the real-time agent from the OpenAI Agent SDK. Now again, if you don't know about the OpenAI Agent SDK, check the link in the description for 2 hours of OpenAI Agent SDK course from beginning to advanced level, covering every topic. Now, to get started with creating a real-time database agent which is going to query the database and give you the result, you need 4 different things. Obviously, to query the database, we first need the database. So we are going to use the SQLite database, which is going to have an employee table and a users table. This is just an example one. You can have a real database. You obviously need a main agent, which is actually having so many things. We will going to talk about it later, but to create the real-time communication, we need the new real-time agent from the OpenAI Agent SDK. This allows you to have a back and forth conversation with the model. This is really fantastic, and it is so fast. But since we are using a terminal to run our Python file, the agent, we need the sound device and NumPy to play the audio coming from the real-time agent, and also to send the audio to the real-time agent whatever we are saying. Both of these things can be done with the sound device and NumPy. Okay, talking about the main agent, this is really important thing, because here lot of things happening. First of all, if you see here, we have a run query tool. So whenever we ask something, there has to be a query which we should run to the SQLite database, get the result out. So we are going to create a tool that is going to run the query. But from where we get the query? Obviously, we will going to ask the AI to generate the query. For that, we are going to create another agent, which is called Query Creator Agent. Now, since this is an agent, but we are not using it as a standalone agent, we will going to use this as a tool. What is the benefit of this? This Query Creator Agent will be useful to the main agent as a tool. We will going to see everything in the code very soon, but let's first understand the flow. So main agent will first say to the query creator, hey query creator, this is the query from the user, which I'll ask like how many employee we have. So this query creator will create a query and then pass that query to the run query tool. This is a function which we are going to run. And once we have the result from the run query tool, it will fed back to the main agent, which is going to convert the result into natural language. But along with all these things, we're going to also use the hide salary guardrail. Now, this guardrail is going to have a guardrails, a boundary set for the salary. What that means, if I don't want anyone who is using my real-time database agent to ask for the salary of any employee, I just want to refuse that thing. And for that, we have this hide salary guardrail. Right now, this is only working with the text, not with the real-time agent, but very soon it will also get support for the real-time agent. But yep, that is amazing thing which we are going to create in this course. So without wasting time, let's go to the cursor and start the magic. To get started with our database agent, I'm going to use a UV init. And if you don't know, UV is a really amazing package manager, which is really fast and easy to create the Python environment. We just say UV init dot means the current directory, and you can see it has created the project. The good part is we don't have to create the virtual environment. The UV will take care of everything. The very first thing we can see the pyproject.toml, and here we can see the dependencies. Now we don't have to manage the requirements.txt file. Okay, so we just say UV add OpenAI agents, and that's super quick. And once it is added, you can see it is in the dependencies list. Now let's open the main.py file, and here what I'm going to do, I'm going to first say from agents import agent with a capital A. Now agent like this. Okay, I'm going to create database agent, and this is very easy. But if you don't know the basics of OpenAI Agent SDK and want to master from scratch and creating something cool with learning each and every important features of OpenAI Agent SDK framework, check out the description for the entire 2-hour course on the OpenAI Agent SDK. Okay, let's continue. So we know we need to provide the name of our agent, which is database agent. Then we need to provide the instruction. Instruction is very simple. It is going to query the database to get most recent data as per the question user's request. That's also good. Now once we have that, we just need to define the model, and model will be like GPT 4.1 mini. And now let's try to run this, and to run this we just need to say the output is equal to await runner dot run and provide the database agent and like how many employees I have. Okay, now since we are using await, we actually need to also import async IO. Now once we have that, we need to make sure this is a async, and we have this async IO dot run. So now let's try to run this. On UV, you need to run UV run main.py or whatever the name of your main Python file is. Now if I run this, we can see we have this response which says, could you please specify the company or organization you are referring to? Basically, the agent doesn't know where to query, what to query. Now, to help the agent to get the answer, we will going to have a tool, a run query tool, which is going to run the query against a database. How we can do that? In OpenAI Agent SDK, creating tools is very simple. But to make it things structured, I'm going to create a tools.py file, and here I'm going to first create a run query function, which is going to just return 6 for now. Why? Because I just want to hard code that there are 6 employees. But to make this a tool, we need to import the function tool decorator from the agents once again and decorate the function. That's good. So on the main.py, I'll say from tools import run query, and here we will pass the tool like this. Okay, once this is done, then I can run again, and this time we will see that it says there are 6 employees, kind of that. And you can see now it says you have total 6 employees. That's super nice. So at this moment, this run query tool is returning the hard-coded thing. What if we want the real data? To have the real data, we need the real database. So I already have a SQLite database called employee.sqlite3 on the root of this directory, and there are total 10 employees in our database. Okay, so how we do that? First of all, we need the database connection. So I'll create a db.py file, and then I will use the cursor magic to create the code here. I want to query the employee.sqlite3 database here. So please write that code. Now this is going to create the entire connection for the DB, and this is what we have. Cool. Let's just accept it. And from DB we need to say query employee DB. So we say, hey, we need the result query. So maybe first I'll say from DB import query employee DB and query employee DB, and here we will pass the query. Once again, the query is hard-coded. Select count asterisk from employee, passing the query, returning the result, and just for checking purpose, what we are getting, I'm just hard-coding, I'm just printing the result. Okay, once again, let's run this, and this time it should query the current database. And yeah, you can see we are getting 10, and here we are getting 10. That's great. That's really nice. But at this moment, still we have a problem. The problem is this query is hard-coded. We want this query to be automatically get created. At this moment, we are going to create another tool. But this tool is not going to be a function tool. It's going to be an agent tool. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to say app underscore agents.py, and here I'm going to create a new agent, and the agent is called query creator agent, and this is a query creator agent. And you can see we have created with the name create a query to get the data from the database as per the user's request. Now this need a structured output. For that, what I'm going to do, I'm going to say class query output, and I say query output base model from Pydantic. So we are going to use the Pydantic base model, and this just return a query. So we say output type is this one. Now since this is going to create the query, we need to use this query creator here as the tool, but we know this is an agent. So first of all, let's say from app agent get query creator agent, but we call this as tool. Now we need to say tool name, and everything is like here, create a single, or I can just a query like this. Okay, At this moment, we don't have anything hard coded, but let's see if we are getting the correct answer or not. Cool, we are getting employee 10. That's really great. Now let's ask some other question. So here, when we are running the database agent on the main.py file, I will call how many employee I have with job of software developer. Now let's see what's going to happen now. At this moment, it took a lot of time, although it has given the correct answer. We have two employees with a software developer, 1 and 2. But if I go to the tracing, we can see we have a lot of iteration on query creation because it was not able to create the perfect query. Why? Because this query creator doesn't know the field's name. Basically, the query creator doesn't know what is the database structure, and that's why after 10 attempts, if it is not by luck getting the right query, it just timed out or maximum turn exceeded. So what actually happening? See, this query creator agent is responsible to create the query, but to create the query, it should know the structure of the table or structure of the entire database. For that, what we have to do, we have to provide a tool to this agent, the query creator agent, right? Okay, so I'm going to create a function which is called get database schema, and this one is going to be a simple function tool which I get from the agent. And here I'm going to ask cursor write code to get the employee.SQLite 3 database schema, entire schema. Okay, this is going to create or write me the code how to get the schema. Okay, that's good. I'm going to accept it. This is really nice. And now once we have that, we can add this tool and we can update the instructions. We say use schema to create the query. Cool. Now we can see this agent is having a lot of query create, but when I run this time, it will only going to use the query create agent as tool once. Why? Because on one attempt it will be able to create the perfect query, although it has not done that. You can see it says no employee, which is not true. We know that there are employees. So let's see what's going to happen on the tracing. If I see it has created the query, so output create table. Why it's creating the table? Oh, so it's actually the database schema, by the way. Here is this. Okay, so this is job title software developer. I think the query is right. Count number of software developer from. So see, I'm going to run this and see if it is working or not. Exactly like this. And I want to run it. Software developer. Okay, so I need to close this and run it. Oh, it says 0. Why is so? So because job ID is software developer with capital S and capital D. Yes, that is the reason. So we need to add one more instruction here, which will be like the value of any field should not case sensitive. Something like that. We can modify it a little better, but you can see when I ran second time, it worked fine. Great. So everything is looking really cool. We have the database agent, which is query the database. We created a query creator, which actually create the query, pass it to the run query tool, and then work on the system. Okay, now I'm going to ask another question. How many employee, or I can say something different. What is the salary of employee with or I can say software engineer employee? Okay, that's a good thing. Okay, with a question mark. Now let's see what's going to happen when I run it. And we should see some trace here when this is running. While this is running, if I go on the database, I can see software engineer is having 75,000. Now it says the salary of software engineer employee is 75,000. That's super nice. Isn't it really cool? So I can say final output just to get the output only. Okay, now see, what if you want to have this database with some guardrails? That means you don't allow anyone to just ask the salary of any other employee. So what we can do, we can create the guardrail. So I'm going to create guardrails.py, and here I'm going to create a new guardrail. The guardrail will be like salary, hide salary, agent. So guardrail is a combination of agent and a function. So first of all, I'm going to create the agent, and the agent is like this: hide the salary of the employee from the given input to given input. That's simple. Okay, now this is the agent, but to make this a guardrail, we need to say definition of hide salary guardrails, guardrail only. This will get the context as a string, then it get the agent as agent, and finally it get the input, which is actually going to be the output of the agent. So see, we are going to have the guardrail on the database agent. So whatever will be the final output of the database agent will filter through the guardrails. If guardrail is tripping or it says something is wrong, it will not going to return the result. Okay, so here we say output. We are going to run. So runner dot run hide salary with the input. So just like this. Okay, so see, this agent we are running inside this guardrail, and once we get that, then we return guardrails output. What's that? It's a guardrail function output. So guardrail function output, something like this. Guardrail function output. This need output info. Now output info will be something like this, but you know what? Here we need the output type, which is salary guardrail output. This is going to be a Pydantic model. So class create this, and I say reason is a string and has salary is boolean. So first of all, this is coming from Pydantic. Now this agent will only return two things. It has the salary and the reason. So let's say the input is coming, or I can say the final output of the database agent is saying that yes, the salary is 75,000. Now it says has salary. Yes, it has the salary, and the reason is there is a salary keyword in the output of the agent, which is the input for this hide salary guardrail. Okay, so finally we say now the reason, and then output, not the output, was that trigger. Now when it is going to trigger, that means when this is going to say stop. It says when there is has salary. When there is a salary, then just stop it. Okay, finally let's go to the database agent, and here we provide output guardrail as hide salary guardrail. So let's import it like this. Now we're asking what is the salary of employee. We know previously it worked. Let's try this time. You can see it says get name is, there's some issue. Guardrail name. Okay, I think we get that because what I can do here is I can simply add a decorator which says it's a guardrail. So guardrail, like output guardrail, and let's decorate it output guardrail. Okay, so this is now done, and let's try this time. Okay, it says guardrail output trigger. Now I just remove the guardrail, and let's try to run the query again, and it should give the salary thing again. So if I do that, yes, it is giving. Now what if we have the guardrail but we are asking some different question? What is the name? Is that name? Yeah, what is the name of the software engineering employee? This should give us the name because name is not at all related to the salary. So we should see that the name is printed here and guardrail should not trigger. Cool, we have the John Doe name. Wow, everything works really nice. Final part of this database agent is having a real-time conversation on this database. Now, for that, we need to look into the OpenAI Agent SDK, and then we can visit the website here. Then we can visit the real-time quick, this one, quick start. Then we need to see that we have all these things, and we can create a agent which is a real-time agent, remember. Okay, so we first need to import it. We have all imported. Create a agent. This time it's going to be a real-time agent. So we are going to convert the database agent from a normal agent to a real-time agent. So real-time agent. Okay, that's good, that's good. Now everything is looking good. Finally, we need to run the real-time agent. Now instead of normal runner, we need this time the real-time runner. So we have this runner and we call the database agent. We have all these real-time related things, and finally what we have to do, we have to go here on the session and we can copy all these things and we paste it. So we have this session which is using the runner which we have created, runner.run session, how are you today, and this is giving all that thing. Now I say if we have event.type is audio, then we need to actually run or actually make this into output of the audio. So how we can do that? For that, we need to add sound device and numpy. So the first thing we need to do is we need to create a player. So above this main function, I'm going to create this player, and this is simple: import sound device as SD and numpy as NP. So we are using numpy here, we are using sound device here, and we are starting the player. Now, if we have the output audio on the real-time conversation, we just say player write the audio. But we need to convert the audio like this so that it will actually work. Now, let's run it. Okay, so it says WebSockets is also required. So here we say UV add WebSockets, which is done. Let's run it, and now it says something model. Okay, so when we have the real-time agent, I think we don't provide the model here like this.
I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. How about you? How's your day going?
Okay, so see, this is the output from the message we sent. We started the conversation, what, like, hello, how are you? Now, instead of doing this, what if we just ask, what is the name of the software engineer employee? Let's see what will be the result.
Could you please tell me which company or team you're asking about? That way, I can help find the right information.
Okay, so something is wrong here. So it should give us the data, but is having the real-time database. Okay. Everything looks good, but it's not able to do that. What we can do, we can try to convert this as a normal agent by providing the model as GPT 4.1, and now try.
One of the software engineer employees is named John Doe. Let me know if you need more details.
See, it worked finally. Now, the only thing required is, instead of sending the message as text, we need to send audio. Now, how we send the audio? This is really a big task. So first of all, I'm going to create another file which is called sounddevice.py, and here I'm going to put this function. Now this function is recording the chunk. Why? Because we need to send the chunk of the audio which we are saying into the real-time conversation of this OpenAI. Now here it is having duration of 5 seconds, sample rate 24,000. First of all, we are creating a loop, and then on that loop we are running this record audio. So async.io is actually looping and checking for every 5 seconds of audio, chunking it, converting that into a byte audio data, and then returning that. Okay, so this is good. We have that. We can also move our player into this sound device. So we can just import the player from sound device, or maybe I can call it app sound device, otherwise it will have conflict. So something like this. Now app sound device, import player, and run audio chunk. Okay, so player is good thing, but why we are having the run audio chunk and where we are using it? So let's go here. This thing we need to do again and again, because once we have the data, we are audio outing it, and then we need to listen again and do it again. So what we can do, we can just cut and say event session event and put all that thing like here. Okay, and this should be async. Cool. Now we have this. We need to repeat this code again and again. And how we are doing that? So we again use this and we say async IO. Instead of gather, we say create task and session event. Now what we do is we say while true, we can get the audio chunk by having this audio record chunk and then send the audio chunk to this session. Since this is looping, every time this loop will actually call this session event, which output the response from our OpenAI real-time conversation. At the end, we just want to have a sync sleep of 0.1 just to make sure there will be no overwhelming in the session. Okay, that's good. Let's try again. Hello. Okay, so something is wrong. So send audio, require audio. So why is that? Maybe I should just print like recording started, and this should return. Okay, we have not saved this file, I believe. Now run it. App sound device has no attribute output stream. It's interesting. So we are getting this because here instead of app sound device, we need to use the normal sound device. And now let's see what's going to happen. Missing one required position argument audio. So we are sending session. Okay, we need to remove that. Okay, now finally let's start this. Hey, how are you? Okay, nothing happened. Hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. So something is wrong here. Okay, so I fix it by having a try catch here, and this is basically exactly same, but here on final section I'm actually doing the session task cancel. Okay, so this actually fixed it. So let's try once again. How many employees I have in my database?
You have 10 employees in your database.
Wow, that's great. And how many have the software developer as the job?
It seems there are no employees with the title developer in the database.
Okay, so it found something weird, but you can see it is actually working super duper fine, and it's faster, real-time communication, and that's really powerful. All these code will be available on the GitHub repository. You will find the link in the description. If you have any question related to this OpenAI Agent SDK, creating a real-time agent, voice agent, just let me know in the comment section. But if you have not yet subscribed, subscribe to Bitfib's YouTube channel, because here you get the practical knowledge which makes your career really powerful in the space of AI and technology.